This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And as always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Plenty to get to today. Spreading it out, we have a couple locks for the NFL on Sunday for Week 6, which kicks off tonight. Eagles and Giants. We have a play on that coming up in just a moment. Also, Major League Baseball, the two National League teams who were facing elimination last night, day one. So those games happening today. Cubs and Brewers at Wrigley, Phillies and Dodgers in LA. We'll talk about that as well. And the NHL, a full card tonight. We have a first period play. So with all that being said, Lee, let's get to our first hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
I mean, Lee Sterling definitely has the mining helmet on for this one. As the Giants and the Eagles, they meet at MetLife Stadium. The Giants, terrible track record at home at night over the years. We'll see what they could do now back under the lights against the Eagles off their first loss of the season. And Beaux Collins of the Giants with Malik Neighbors injured. Jackson Dart needs some more targets to throw to. So what do you like with Beaux Collins, the former Notre Dame Fighting Irish receiver, Lee?
So sent this out to my clients early. So this is hint, a client play also. And one of my clients wrote back, Mark Collins, safety? I'm like, no, not Mark Collins, number 36. So shows you not too many Collins, and the Collins that he remembers and I remember wasn't even on offense. So Beaux Collins, I think, is underrated. Is he great? No. But Wan'Dale Robinson, now the number one target here for the G-men after Theo Johnson's big game against the Saints last week. I think those two are going to get most of the attention here against the Eagles. And Giants are going to have to throw the football. They want to have any chance to win the game. They're probably going to be trailing. I just love Beaux Collins in this spot here. You know, teams' defenses stop the number one and then the number two guy, and I don't think there's really any game plan they put forward to stop Collins, and think he's an underrated guy. Played last year at Notre Dame with quarterback that didn't throw the football very well. And you don't have to have like a 20, 30-yard gain. He can catch two balls for 8 and 10 yards, and bingo, we go over. So love the spot here. Beaux Collins, minus 135, over 1.5 receptions. My hidden gem.
And no matter what he does, Lee, he'll always be the second most popular Collins in Giants history behind Penn State's own Kerry Collins, who led the G-men to the Super Bowl.
I forgot that.
I mean, Granted, they got blown out by the Ravens, but still. It's easy to forget him. But so he could get up in that range, though. So we'll see. It's just like Jackson Dart's the second most popular Ole Miss quarterback for the Giants ever. So, so you got to look at that. All right. Now, we will review last night's action, and 1 and 2 here on the show. Winner late night with the Kings, first period. Scored 2 goals against the Golden Knights. They actually trailed late in that game before coming back and winning in the shootout. But I did let the spot lead with LA. I just thought after they were a bit flat against Colorado, they had good numbers with no rest last year in the first period, and they have a rivalry with Vegas over the years. I just thought that they would get that one. And also, Mitch Marner made his debut for the Golden Knights. But I did like the spot with LA plus the money in the first period.
We knew the public was going to be on the Golden Knights here. So good call there. That's why we have you as our hockey expert. So I do hockey, but not as experienced as you are. A lot of ebbs and flows to the season, and especially after the first night where they were just asleep at the wheel. So great call there. Hopefully you stay on this run here.
Yeah, we have another NHL first period play coming up in just a little bit for Thursday's action from Major League Baseball yesterday, Lee. 0-2 on those plays. It's funny. I feel like when you lose on these, it's when teams do well offensively and the one guy does nothing. And then Terry Carpenter, the Tigers, who was 0 for 5. Tigers actually busted out. They were trailing early in that game. It looked like they'd be eliminated. And then the offense just went nuts. And they ended up forcing now a Game 5 back in Seattle coming up tomorrow. But for Terry Carpenter batting leadoff, just couldn't get anything going there at the top of the lineup.
Might have to consider him, for the next game. Sometimes when you see something, you see a guy, think he's going to do it, just like in football. When I lose a game, hasn't been often lately, but when I lose a game, usually I see something and it carries over. You got to just stay with it the next week. So might consider playing him, in their game on Friday night against the M's. So he'll be under the radar. Everyone will bet everyone else on the Tigers if they bet Tigers player props. So just wasn't his night. Got him 5 at bats. He batted leadoff, just couldn't scratch out a hit.
And I really did like the Cubs Brewers nerfy in the in first inning. No runs scored in the first inning, and we saw in the first 2 games in Milwaukee just explosions early on. Milwaukee went nuts in Game 1. Cubs hit a 3-run homer in Game 2. The Brewers answered a 3-run homer in Game 2. So going back to Wrigley with the wind blowing in yesterday, and each team ends up getting they each score in the first, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, didn't expect that. I said I was hoping for 10, 11, 12-minute first inning. I think it was over 30 minutes, 30, 35 minutes. It was painful to watch. So turned it off, came back in a few innings and watched the rest of the game, but just didn't pan out the way I liked it.
Now, I know we're going to get to a baseball prop in a little bit, but as far as tonight's action, because now the Yankees are gone and the Blue Jays advanced the ALCS. They're waiting for the winner of Tigers Mariners. They'll find that out tomorrow. The 2 National League, the Cubs win at home. The Phillies go on the road. Kyle Schwarber hit a ball that still hasn't landed yet. I mean, that was just like, you saw that homer, and you're like, wow. And that kind of the Phillies up and winning that game. Out of those 2, do you think either one forces a Game 5 in the NLDS?
I think Philadelphia will. I just think these 2 teams are just so evenly matched. So crazy. They might be the best 2 teams, and they had to square off in this round. So I think it's destined to be a 5-game series.
Yeah, so if the Phillies can force that back to Philadelphia, that'll be kind of crazy. And the Cubs, again, we'll see what they do at home if they can keep their season alive against the Brewers. Want to shift to this really quickly. So last night we had 2 Conference USA games, and Missouri State, who's been in Conference USA for years and years and years. No, this is their first year in the conference. They won last night in Middle Tennessee. Liberty finally won. They've been a complete disaster this year. They beat UTEP. You have now what? It was a 48 or 49 straight day stretch of football. So now you got to really get geared up. We don't have more off days anymore.
No, I can't even go out on a Tuesday, Wednesday night. Used to be early in the year. Those are the nights I went out. So, just buckle the chin strap and get ready. Got to go for almost the next 2 months, but this is what I love. So I'm rested. I'm ready to go.
So now you know all about Conference USA because they will be on those Wednesday night games. We'll get FIU soon on one of those games, and a loaded card tonight. Actually, have East Carolina Tulane as kind of the showcase game tonight. Should be a good one in the American, and just a big weekend coming up in college football as well. We still have a lot to get to, Lee. We have a couple NFL plays. We have waited till today to get to the NFL. We already had the prop, but also a couple plays for Sunday we'll get to. Also NHL and Major League Baseball. All of that is straight ahead. A very busy Thursday edition here of Locked On Bets. Time now to talk about FanDuel. That's right. FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss because the NFL season is here. We've played a month already, starting to figure things out. We think we figured things out, and then what happens? They play Sunday. We don't have it figured out. But the good news is at FanDuel, you can figure things out there with your bets. Eagles-Giants coming up tonight from MetLife Stadium. The Eagles are favored on the road. You want to back them. You want to take the Giants as a dog. Take the Giants on the money line for a nice plus price. You can bet out that at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And also, if you want to bet on those player props tonight, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, maybe Jackson Dart, if you want to look at them for this evening, you can. Or if you want to wait till Sunday, plenty of big games. Sunday night, you have Lions Chiefs at Arrowhead. So that's another big one there. And you also have, besides the game action, you have the future bets that you could look at. MVP, Josh Allen, he is the favorite right now from the Bills at FanDuel. Patrick Mahomes is right behind him. You can also look at Super Bowl winners, Bills, Eagles, Lions. There are 3 favorites right now at FanDuel. Also, who's going to win the AFC, who's going to win the NFC. So many different choices there. Games, player props, futures, all there at FanDuel. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. We continue here, Locked On Bets on a Thursday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And we have plenty more NFL to get to in a bit, a couple locks for Sunday's action. But first, we head to the ice, Lee. And it's time now for a blowout special.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
We have our first busy NHL card of the season. Already the first couple days, 3-4 games, but now I think it's 11 games tonight in the NHL. And I'm going to go with the first period play. We won with the Kings last night, and we're going to go with another road team this evening, though they are favored. That being the New York Islanders. They are laying 130 in the first period against the Pittsburgh Penguins. A couple things here on the Penguins. Well, first with the Islanders, first game of the season for them. For Pittsburgh, second game, they shut out the Rangers at the Garden 2 nights ago. Played very well, but also a couple things there. Number one, they were huge underdogs. Mike Sullivan, their old coach, went to the Rangers, so I bet there's a bit of revenge there on the Penguins side to show him, hey, you left us to go to the Rangers, and look what we did. Pittsburgh scored at the end of the first period in the game on Tuesday, and they scored 2 empty netters late. So 3-0, a little bit of a misleading final score. They got good goaltending. Artur Shilov's, former Vancouver Canuck, who's starting a net for Pittsburgh, played very well, shut down the Rangers. But I think now the Islanders' favorite on the road tells you a lot on where this Pittsburgh team is. Jack Bond, who filled in a few days ago, he had Pittsburgh under points for the season. He didn't think very highly of them, and he had some interesting comments on the Penguins and just the rebuild. I mean, past Sidney Crosby and Malkin, there's really not a lot to get excited about this Penguins team. So I think they fall back down to earth tonight. Let's take the Islanders in the first period tonight against the Penguins as our blowout special.
Another going against the grain there. Pittsburgh looked good opening night. Public will be on them. Paramount Sports and Kevin Rogers, picks will be against him. So love it.
Yeah, and again, I'm trying to let a lot of these games like marinate a little bit. Let's let these teams play. It's such a long season. You know, football's differently because there's such urgency. Like we got to get to it. Whereas opposed to basketball, hockey, you could let a couple of these teams play a few games. You still have plenty to bet on the rest of the season, so you don't have to jump into it and go nuts the first few days. So, again, Boston plays with no rest tonight against Chicago at home. Vegas goes to San Jose with no rest. So those teams have played, but a lot of the other ones are playing their first game, so kind of let it play out a little bit. And, very long season coming up. All right, let's get back to baseball now. Phillies and the Dodgers, they continue their series. Game 4, they're playing an afternoon game in L.A. It's a 6 o'clock Eastern game at 3 o'clock Pacific, and we'll see if Philadelphia can extend that series back home. And it's time now to bet a little, win a lot.
They say you'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So bet a little, win a lot.
Bryce Harper, he has struggled in this series for the Phillies. Again, it looked like they were down on the mat last night. Dodgers took the early lead. Maybe it looked like LA was going to get the sweep, and the Phillies just produced runs there, ended up pulling away and winning that game. So now they're down 2-1. A little bit of momentum maybe for the Phillies in the powder blue uniforms. I love those. And what do you like here with Bryce Harper, Lee, coming up in Game 4 against the Dodgers?
He's one of those guys. Every 8 to 10 games, he's going to have a game. You're like, wow, this is why he got all the money. And then he disappears. So I think tonight we see that Bryce Harper game against the Dodgers. He faced 2 tough lefties in the first 2 games. He went 2 for 3 against Yamamoto, and he gets another right-handed guy here, which he's had success against. So just love him today. I think this is going to be his breakout game, and not saying they're going to win the series, but I just need him to have over 1.5 bases. He bats top of the order. He drives the ball, doubles, occasional triple, and a lot of home runs. So get him at plus 125. So I'm going to bet a little, win a whole lot on Bryce Harper tonight, over 1.5 total bases here, plus 125.
Tyler Glass now getting the start for the Dodgers coming up tonight. Christopher Sanchez, who's been the best pitcher for the Phillies this year, notwithstanding Zach Wheeler, who's obviously not pitching. He's out. But again, we'll see if Philadelphia, this would be a monster comeback. If Philadelphia can win this, then go back home and slay the Dodgers and knock out the defending champions. And again, Cubs Brewers, I'm even looking at this league. You don't have any starting pitchers in this game yet. That you get to these games and you're just throwing things together. And let me say this quick before we get to the football. That's just one thing I don't love about the playoffs. I don't like the fact that you're going with bullpen game. Like you're in games that are deciding your season, and you have to like pace them together and get scotch tape and get your pitchers out there.
And some pitchers aren't even lasting, into the second or third inning. So yeah, things have changed. You don't see the sacrifice bunt used much, stolen base, hit and run as much, but things have changed. At least they haven't made the playoffs where they're putting guys on second base to start the 10th inning. I mean, that's horrendous what they do in the regular season. So I know they want to get games over. They want to keep people's attention, but there's something about, going to baseball game, having some popcorn and peanuts and relaxing and, not sitting on your phone, just enjoying the night and the small intricacies that take place in baseball. And that's why I used to love it, playing it and watching it. So changed a lot, but, hopefully we see some real good games tonight.
And also, too, just one more note on yesterday's Detroit-Seattle game, that Casey Mize, the starting pitcher for the Tigers, his out prop was 9.5 at 6 strikeouts in the first 3 innings. They pull him. The reliever that gives up like 2 hits and walks a bag. Like, you just kept him in. What are you doing? Like, why are you overthinking this? The guy has 6 strikeouts. He's pitching well, and he ends up getting pulled, but Detroit still ended up winning the game. Coming up, we will take a look at a couple of NFL plays. Really haven't talked about the NFL this week. We're saving it for the end of the week, and we're saving it for now. So we're going to talk about a couple matchups, Steelers, Browns, Cowboys, Panthers. All of that is straight ahead. You are listening to Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Thursday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. Guess what? We got a little twofer here, Lee. Well, we'll play the video twice, though, but we have a couple games here. We're going to start our NFL locks for Sunday, and we're going to begin in Carolina between the Cowboys and the Panthers.
Open it, open it, open it! Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
Dallas Cowboys, best offense, worst defense in the league. And we'll see if they can pick up another road win. They dominated the Jets last week. Carolina's been good at home. Already 2 wins, beating the Falcons, coming back to beat the Dolphins last week. So Cowboys, here Lee, a short favorite on the road against the Panthers. What do you like?
So what do the Dolphins do? They're up 17-0 over Carolina and just started running the football, throwing underneath, getting very conservative. And you know what? When you play to lose, you usually do. And that's what happened with the Dolphins. Carolina came back. Carolina ran the football on them. And just think that this is a good spot here for Dallas. Like, well, they already won on the road. How are they going to win again? Their offensive line. Well, their offensive line did the job. I know they were down 4 starters. Could get a couple of those guys back for this game. And Dak plays his best ball against lower level competition. Teams with losing record, Dak 33-18-2 against the spread. We know his struggles against good teams and in big games here. So Dallas changed their game plan. They were about 65% passing. They were more balanced last week, 29 runs, 29 passes here, ran for 135 yards here. And watching Carolina, and Carolina was lucky. I mean, they faced some Miami defense cornerbacks. Told many people, I mean, we've even discussed it on the show. I don't think there's any cornerback. Well, the regular cornerbacks, none of them, I don't believe, had started any games for any team on the outside corners, only a few games as the slot corner. So they got guys playing out of position. They got guys, none of the cornerbacks should be in the NFL. None of them. So they were lucky. You know, they got some matchups, and give Young credit. Bryce Young credit, came back after having a real rough start, had a fumble, horrible fumble, terrible interception, down so much they came back and won the game. But bottom line, they were playing a horrible Dolphins team that's fallen apart here. Carolina will give them, they'll give them a run for their money here. We might even see CeeDee Lamb come back. So I like Dallas here. They're complementary receivers doing a really good job. Their tight ends, Pickens, looks like he was the number one at Pittsburgh. So I'm going to lay the small spot here. I have Dallas winning 31-24. It's going to be my level one lock to start Thursday.
All right. So the Cowboys, we'll see if they can keep it up again. They had that comeback against the Packers, end up tying that game. I mean, Dallas, they could score. Like, they could score. They got a great field goal kicker, and this is a spot for them really to take advantage against the Carolina team that probably is not going to the playoffs. Our second lock of the day, old rivals, the Browns and the Steelers hooking up in Pittsburgh.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
The scheduling spot, interesting for the Browns here off that game in London, turning right back around to play the Steelers. Pittsburgh was in Ireland 2 weeks ago, had the week off, and now they had a little bit of rest, and Aaron Rodgers needed that. He probably went to a tent somewhere to relax, but now he is back. And Dylan Gabriel, his first true road start at formerly Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium now, still Heinz Field to me. Lee, what do you like here with the Browns and Steelers? Pittsburgh favorite at home.
So the Browns generally have really good defense. In fact, no team has allowed fewer first downs this year. In fact, going back all the way to the start of 2024. Unfortunately, that doesn't translate here into their offense because the offense puts the defense in really bad spots here. So Aaron Rodgers, how good has he looked? Well, they've gone to more 2 tight end sets to protect him, and that's helped out. He completed 81.8% of his passes in the game last 2 weeks ago for over 9 yards per pass attempt. That was without also starting running back Jaylen Warren. I think this team's starting to come together here. They when they deploy that 2 tight end set, not only does it help the pass protection, he's more centered on the middle of the field, and even some of the running tight ends, run blocking tight ends are catching the football. So the distribution's there. They don't have to just rely on one receiver. On the other side, Cleveland quarterback. They got a quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, a rookie making his first start on the road. Quarterbacks making their first or second start on the road, 13-36 straight up. I know the line's 5. A lot of games end in 3 here, but Pittsburgh covered 6 of the last 8 home games here, 6 of the last 8 against the Browns. Browns have covered none. That's right, a goose egg, none of the last 7 road games here. So I think Pittsburgh's rolling. Bye week should help them here. Cleveland's also traded one of their cornerbacks. They're just looking for draft picks. They're looking to rebuild, take a look at what they have here, and I expect Sanders to probably get a start in 3 or 4 weeks at quarterback when things go south. I like Pittsburgh a lot here. Enough. I'm going to go all the way up here. Pittsburgh Steelers, level 3 lock, then Thursday.
All right, so Dallas and Pittsburgh, your NFL picks for Sunday, coming up week number 6. And Lee, with that being said, Paramount Sports been on fire in the NFL. Another big week for not only NFL, but also for college football.
Yep. Looking to keep rolling here. So 10-1 weekend last weekend, college football in the NFL for our clients. You want to hop on board. We don't call it October, call it Locktober. Get every single game through the end of the month through October 31st. If you use coupon code SAVE100, normally $4.97, just $397. There's games every single night now. What is it, 49 or 50 days?
Something like that, yeah.
49 or 50 days, crazy. So you want to hop on board, use that coupon code SAVE100. We'll also have UFC. I'll have at least one selection here on the show tomorrow. 7 selections, $37 there. We're rolling there. 14 out of 18 winning cards. So check it all out. Also baseball, get our selections through the World Series or player props through the World Series, just $97 each. One place, ParamountSports.com.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, also the podcast version. Subscribe to that, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. You can find Lee on X at Paramount Sports, myself at Rogers Picks. Again, we appreciate you tuning in to the latest edition of Locked On Bets. We'll talk to you again tomorrow for the Friday edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.